y'all. It is time for another Getting Cozy in the Kitchen with Candace, and I'm Candace. I'm a Pampered Chef consultant. Today I was at the grocery store and I found cabbage on sale for 64 cents a pound. Great deal. And I thought, this is wonderful. I've got a whole bunch of ground beef in the fridge and I would love to make stuffed cabbage. So I do not eat a lot of carbs right now. I'm not eating rice. So I found some frozen broccoli. I'm gonna take 2 bags of those, put them in my Pampered Chef steamer that goes in the microwave, and I'm gonna add half an onion. And that is gonna substitute for the rice in my stuffed cabbage. Now usually I have tomato sauce. I don't have any tomato sauce in the pantry, but I do have some homemade tomato sauce that I put in the blender with those tomatoes that we had so much of this summer. And I found some garlic fire roasted tomatoes. Those were in the pantry. So I'm just gonna take my chopper, put that in to my steamer. And then add our 2 packages of frozen cauliflower. Yep, they're whole cauliflower. I don't have any riced cauliflower, or I would definitely be using those. I'm gonna add just enough water to cover the bottom, and I'm gonna steam this for 5 minutes. And then I'm gonna need to let it set, and I'm gonna need to let it drain. So while our cauliflower is cooking, I have started a pot of boiling water on the stove, and I'm just gonna take my cabbage. I have already peeled the outside pieces off, and those are gonna go to the compost pile. You're gonna take it and turn it upside down. Take your knife, and you are just going to score it right along the outside edges, right along the inside edges, and against that hard white piece that holds those leaves on. That is what you're gonna wanna cut away. You're gonna reach right up here where the vein is and just lightly pull it away from the cabbage. And these should come off in nice big leaves. It's okay if they tear a little bit. That is all right. You're going to be rolling these up, but we're also going to blanch them first. So that's where the boiling water comes in. So you'll just pull them right away from the head of cabbage, and see, it is nice and big. I'm gonna take my kitchen shears and I'm gonna cut a V shape right along the edge of that core. Now I'm gonna save this core. These are a little bit spicy, so I'm gonna save these and I'm gonna dice them up real fine, and I'm gonna put them in cabbage soup or ham and beans with some cabbage in it. Those always are great. You can also use them in your broth and your stock. If they're difficult to pull away from the core, you can always start at the other end and just lift these leaves right off. This is probably the most labor intensive, which is not really hard at all, thing that you're gonna do all night. When our water gets up to boiling, we're just going to take our large pieces of cabbage, put them right down in there, and let them cook for just a minute or two. You'll want to get these soft and tender and pliable. That is the main goal of blanching our cabbage. They are going to get really bright and pretty color, and you're going to have a container, a strainer, a dish towel, something setting off to the side to catch all of the water that comes off of them. Isn't that a gorgeous color? And nice and pliable. And it only just took a minute or two, or even less than that. While our cabbage is still blanching, I've got quite a few to go. I just pulled out the cauliflower from the microwave and let it drain. So it's right here. Now if you use rice cauliflower, you can skip this step. All I've done is take my stainless steel pan, add that other half an onion. Now you remember we did steam some in that pan, but I'm also going to add some to the garlic. You notice I didn't put any oil in it. That's what this pan is made for. You don't have to use oil. It's much, much healthier cooking. And then I'm going to take the cauliflower and put this right in. And I am going to use my mix and chop and just chop this and cook out the liquid. But have you ever gone to the store and gotten a 10-pound tube of ground beef? Well, that's what I did. But I am not going to use all 10 pounds in these cabbage rolls. I'm only going to use 2. So I'm going to bust out my scale from Pampered Chef. I'm going to get a piece of parchment paper. I like to prep food for future. So I'm going to take my serrated knife. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And cut off what I would think was about 2 pounds. Did you see how fast that cut and how easy? That was awesome. So this measures in pounds, ounces, and grams. And I want 2 pounds. 1.76 pounds. So, if you need something to make hamburger patties, that's a great, great knife. That's what I'm going to be using later. Two pounds of ground beef. That is going to go right into my bowl. To that, I am going to add seasoned salt. This is Pampered Chef seasoned salt. I'm going to add some garlic and herb rub because I love garlic. Probably about 2 tablespoons. I'm going to add crushed red pepper. Now, if you are not a fan and your family's not a fan of crushed red pepper, you can skip that part, I'm sure. I'm going to add 3 onion rub. I'm getting low on that one. I'm going to have to come back to it. And then I'm going to drain the liquid and save it off my fire roasted tomatoes and put those in with the meat. To our 2 pounds of ground beef and all of our seasonings, I've added our riced cauliflower and it has the garlic and the onion in it. I've added the 2 cans of fire roasted tomatoes. I've drained those off and I was able to get those into this jar, which is my homemade tomato sauce. And we have our cabbage, nice and cool and nice and limpy and wimpy and ready to go. And all we're gonna do is I did wait a minute to add the eggs because I didn't want them to scramble. in my riced cauliflower mix. And we're just gonna add 2 eggs. Take our mix and chop and just mix this all together. Once our meat mixture is all mixed up, we're gonna take our pan, and if you don't wanna use paper, that's perfectly fine. I am using a cast iron enamel pan. I'm gonna throw the enamel pan in the freezer and just lift this right out when it's nice and frozen. You can put it in an 8x8 and freeze it and lift it out, or you can just make it and eat it. So I'm going to take a little bit of the tomato sauce, and this is just homemade tomato sauce. Put that right on the bottom. This would be better to use if you are, this is definitely something you need to use if you are putting it straight onto the pan. This will help keep everything from sticking. You're gonna take your cabbage leaves. There's a nice big one right there. Lay it out, and yeah, they come apart. It's okay. You'll take a pile of your mix, raw, put it right in the cabbage leaf, and then you're gonna roll it like a burrito. You're gonna roll the sides in. I'm gonna cut this off because you don't need that. You're gonna roll the sides in and up because you wanna hold it in, flip it up and roll and tuck and roll and tuck and roll. And you have your cabbage roll. Let's try that again. We'll use the other piece. Not all of them are gonna be the same size. If you don't care, I don't care. That is all right. It's just fine. They're gonna lay in there nice. Check that one out. Once you get your cabbage rolls all situated in your pan the way you want to, you're just gonna take your tomato sauce and pour it right over the top in a nice thin layer. You will season with a little more seasoned salt. Oh my goodness. And then you're gonna cover that with foil. You're gonna bake 350 for 45 minutes, depending on your pan size, maybe up to an hour. So, there you have it. Thank you all for getting cozy in the kitchen with Candace. Like and subscribe. Add to my Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's all Cozy in the Kitchen with Candace. I'd like to read a word of scripture for you tonight. It is James 1, verse 5 and 6. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed like the wind. I hope you have a great rest of your day.